Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Sheridan, Oregon in the United States. Thanks so much for joining me. I think I'm about a minute late, so sorry about that. It's been kind of a zoo here the last half hour. Okay, well, let's go ahead and see who's on, and then we'll get started. And we are going to be making an ornament tonight using Woodland Scenery, and we'll also be making a gift box, storage box. Okay, so let's go ahead and say hello to everyone, and we will, hopefully this will cooperate with me tonight. And I can easily find the video, which is not happening. I see lots of northern lights on the thing, so let's see if I can go this way, because that way is not working. And we will see if this works. Okay. All right, got comments up. Shows me live. And there we are. Okay, yay. Okay, hello, Cynthia. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you. And we wait here just a minute. We're going to be using Woodland Scenery tonight. And we will be making an ornament and a gift box, storage box to put it in. We'll be using these large gold hoops. And we're going to be using the Spotlight on Nature dies. And let's see. Oh, the other thing we will be using for the box, we're going to be using a couple things out of Festive Friends. We're going to use We Wish You a Merry Christmas, a sentiment out of here. Woodland Scenery has no sentiments. And then for the box, we're going to be using Warmest Winter Wishes, I think. No, we're not. Maybe we're not using that. Maybe that's a different project altogether. Yeah, it's been a day. It's been a day. Actually, it's been a week. All right, so let's go ahead. Hello, Laura. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Jennifer. If I seem a little scatterbrained, it's because I got some not very good news about a half hour ago. So that's why. But we're going to do this, okay? All right, so let's go and we're going to make our gift box storage first. Okay, and we're going to try to do this pretty quickly. So we're going to bring in some Pool Party ink, some basic beige, and some Secret Sea. Okay, and let's go ahead and make our scene. So we've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is cut at 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. It's a square, 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. This is a piece of Pool Party, and this is 3.5 by 3.5. And let's go ahead and get our stamping done. Why did he do that? He did it right in front of me too. Yeah. Okay, so let's grab our stamp positioning tool here. And I've got my cabin from the Woodland Scenery here. And I think I can put this right here in the corner and it'll be right where I want it. And then we're going to take Secret C. And let me wipe that off. Okay. And we're going to stamp this down. Okay. I'm going to put that back in the corner nice and tight. And I'm going to stamp it again. All right. So there is that piece for our box. Now we're going to go ahead and do our stamping for the ornament at the same time. So what I've done here is I've taken a piece of basic white and I didn't want these, so I'm going to take and just cut these like so. Okay, I'm going to cut those off. And we're going to go all the way around the circle until we have this left. Okay, then we're going to take and put just a little bit of adhesive here on the back of our circle. And I'm going to put this in here. And that looks good to me. And then I'm going to stamp this up. Might as well ink it while we're doing it. I'm pushing too hard, apparently. And then we will stamp that down. And we're going to repeat that, making sure that my paper's fully in the corner. Hoping that that comes out the way I need it to. Okay, so now I've got that. I've got a little spot on my stamp here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp that one more time. Put that back in the corner nice and solid. And then I'll lay that back down. And then that will fill in that tiny little bubble. And if that doesn't fully get what you need, I'm going to take a light Secret C here. I'm just going to dab that. And then we won't even notice it. Okay. All right, so we're done with that. Let's go ahead and put this aside. So now we've got these two pieces. Now we're going to bring in the single tree stamp. And we're going to line this up, sort of. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. All right. Then there it is. Panicked there for a minute. I stamped on a piece of the Stampin' Up! Masking paper and I cut out the cabin. And I'm going to mask my cabin. Okay. And then I'm going to take the 3 tree stamp here. going to stamp that down. Okay. And because I have that mask on there, I don't have to worry about that. And now it looks like those trees are behind. So we're going to do that one more time on this piece. And stamp that there. Okay. And then we'll lift that off. And then I'll put this back on the masking paper and I will keep that and just keep reusing it until it doesn't want to be used anymore. Okay, so the last thing we need on this one is we're going to take the little sled image. And of course, I'm doing this all in Secret C. And we are going to put our little sled right here. Okay, and then we're going to add that down here. Like so. And then finally, we're going to take the deer. All of these stamps are from that Woodland Scenery set. And I'm going to put that up here. So it looks like he's kind of standing in the meadow up there. Okay? All right. So now we have our pieces stamped. Let's go ahead and set this aside until we're ready for it. Okay. And you can just roll that adhesive off the back for the most part, or get out your adhesive remover tool here. Okay. You can get those on Amazon at the Dollar Tree. Stampin' Up! Used to sell them, but they don't anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside so I don't lose it for the next project. Okay. And then we're going to finish this one up. Okay. So actually, I'm going to put this, I should have left this on. We're going to put this back on. Okay. And then I'm going to take some Pool Party ink and a blending brush. And I've torn a piece of paper. Just take any piece of paper. This is not Stampin' Up! Paper. This is just paper I have in my stash. And just tear it towards you, okay? And make it wider than your project. And then we're just going to take and put this down here. And cover this up. And take some Pool Party ink. I'm going to go just above that sled. Got my fingers planted on both. I'm firmly holding both pieces. Okay. So now I've got that. Then I'm going to move this up and over a bit. Remember, I've got my mask on, so I don't need to worry about this. And then we're going to give that a little inking. Okay. And then to make this look totally different, I'm going to bring this up here like this. I'm going to go just above that deer. And I'm going to ink some more. Okay, so now this is our piece, but we need to carefully remove our mask. All right, and we're going to put that back on. We'll use that again on the, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and do it now. Oh, nope, we're not going to do it now because I need to do some cutting and some tearing first. Okay, so we've got that. Let's put that aside. We've got one more piece to stamp here. I'm going to grab a piece of basic white, and I'm using just a scrap here. And I'm going to take the We Wish You a Merry Christmas from Festive Friends and Secret Sea ink. I'm going to hope this works for me. And I'm just going to push this down here, like so. Hold that on there for a second. And there we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we're going to take our triple banner punch. And I'm going to turn it this way because I want my banner at the right-hand side. So I'm going to put that in here like this. Center that up. Give it a punch. And now we have our sentiment for that. Okay? So here's our pieces. Oh, I forgot to do one thing here. Let's go ahead and take our basic beige ink. And we're going to take the smoke for the chimney. I'm going to ink that up in basic beige. I'm going to put that right there so it looks like there's smoke coming out of the chimney. And we're going to take light lemon lolly in our Stampin' Blends. And I'm just going to brush in a little bit of lemon lolly. I am not worrying about whether there's white around the windows or anything. I'm just putting a little bit of color in there. Then I'm going to take my light cloud cover. I'm going to ink up the top of the window, the bottom of the window, the wood around the window is what I should say. And the wood around the door, and then we'll give a little dot right there for the door handle. Okay, now this piece is finished and ready for our box. So let's go ahead and make the box real fast. I wanted to make this a storage box. So what I've done is I've made it a double walled, okay? So I've got a piece of Secret Sea, and this is the two-tone cardstock. I'm using the darker side. And I'm going to put this into my scoring tool. And then I'm going to score this. This is 5 5 5/8 by 9 3/4. So on the 5 5/8 inch side, I'm going to get my scoring tool, not my pokey tool. I'm going to score out 1/2 and 1 inch. Flip it 180 degrees and do the same thing. 1/2 and 1 inch. Then we're going to take it to the 9 3/4 inch side. Again, 1/2, 1 inch, and then at 4 5/8. Okay, I'm going to flip that around 180 and do 1/2, 1 inch, and 4 5/8. Okay, 1/2, 1, 4 5/8, flip it, 1/2, 1, 4 5/8. On the shorter side, a 1/2 inch and 1 inch, flip it 180, a 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Okay? Then you're going to burnish on all of the score lines. Okay. So we're just burnishing all of those. Lining up our sides to make sure everything's nice and even. Okay, now we're going to cut all 4 corners exactly the same. But before we do that, we're going to start with these center pieces. So we're going to take our paper snips and we're going to cut up on the long rectangle on either side of those 2 middle squares. Then we're going to remove that little square and angle cut the remaining square. Okay. Then again, cut up on the long rectangles, cut off the outside square, and angle cut the smaller square. Okay, now we're going to move to these corner pieces. Remember, we're doing the same thing on all 4 corners. So again, we're going to cut up on the long rectangle. Then we're going to cut up between the squares right here like this, so that we've got these 2 little leggy things. Now I'm going to cut this one off on the long rectangle. And then I'm going to remove that square on the outside. And again, we're going to angle cut these to make glue tabs. Okay. Then we'll move down here, cut up on the long rectangle, cut between the squares, cut off the outside set, and then off the outside square. And then we've got our tab left because we angle cut it. Again, rotate 180 there, up on the long rectangle, cut between those squares, cut off the outside 2 squares, cut off the remaining outside square, and then angle cut and angle cut. Okay, repeat that one more time. Cut off the outside 2, cut off the remaining outside 1, angle cut, angle cut. All right, and that is all of the cutting for this box. Okay, now at this point you need to decide which end you're going to use for your top, because it's going to be clamshell, and which is going to be the bottom. Okay, and then we need to put a finger hole in here. So we're going to take this is 3 5/8. So we're going to measure this at 1 13/16. 1 13/16, which is 1 little tick mark past 1 3/4. Okay. Well, not 1 little, yeah, it would be 1 little tick mark. But for my ruler, I've got to go between because this is when it goes in 8ths. So I'll just put a little mark between right there. Doesn't have to be exactly precise. That just, you can eyeball it if you want to. And then I'm going to take a little circle punch, put it in part way, and punch it. Now, this is going to be the front of my box. Now we're going to add our adhesive. So we're going to take some tear and tape. And we're going to put tear and tape on all of the outside remaining rectangles. Okay, so all of those like that. Okay. So we'll just go around like this. Okay, and keep going until you have all of those done. And then it will look like this. I wanted to save us a little bit of time. Okay, so we've got that. Oh, but I didn't do this part. Silly me. Okay, so let's do this. I'll mark this, and then we'll punch it, and then this will be ready. You have to do this before you start assembling, because once you start assembling, it's too late. You can't get your punch in there. Okay, so now I've got that. All right, so because this is going to be the front of my box, I want to turn this over to the outside, and I'm going to put glue on these four tabs. You're going to put glue this tab, this tab, this tab, and this tab, okay? So let's go ahead, and you don't have to necessarily have a real strong adhesive here. I'm just going to use my seal, because these four are going to get trapped inside our reinforced sides, so they won't come apart. They're going to be secured with tear and tape on the other pieces. So I'm just going to line those up, cut side to the corner, cut side to the corner. If you wanted to, you could actually skip this part, but I want my box to really hold together, so I'm not. You could just trap these by folding them over and trapping them inside the reinforced sides, but I prefer to do it this way for stability. Okay, so I've got those four in. I'm going to give those tabs a burnish just to be sure. Okay, and then I'm going to take these three pieces and remove my tear and tape backing. One, and I'm going to fold that in. Remove my backing, which I know you can't see because that lid is getting in the way. Fold that down and secure it. And then we're going to do this one. Okay. So we'll fold that in and secure it. Now that does two things. It gives you a nice, clean, pretty finish inside the box. You can't see those tabs. And it gives you a double-walled box. Okay. Which will give you more stability. All right. So then to do the top of the box, we're going to actually fold this inside. So again, we're going to put some, I'm going to do this now. It'll be easier. I'm going to take all of these off. And actually for this top piece, I can take and fold this down now because it won't matter. Okay? The side pieces do matter. So I'm going to do that. And ding dong me, I should have done this first. It's okay. We'll make it work. Let me get my silicone mat so I don't have to worry about it sticking. Just what the silicone mat is for, right? So we'll do that and that. And again, we're going to do cut side. Okay. And then cut side to the fold. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold those in to reinforce the sides of the top as well. And then we'll give that a nice burnish. Okay. Now, in order for this top to fit properly inside the box, we need to do a little angle cut here. So we're just going to take our snips, and on this piece here, this top, we're just going to angle cut like so. And then we're going to repeat that over here like that. Okay? Now, this box is now ready to be decorated. So we're going to go ahead And I did ahead of time a 3.5 by 3.5 inch piece of basic white. And from the Words for the Season stamp set, I used May the Magic of Christmas Fill Each Corner of Your Home and Heart. I stamped that in Secrecy, and I'm going to put that inside on the bottom, and then I can sign this. Okay, I'm not going to tape it in because I'll have time to pull it out and sign it whenever I'm ready to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll push these in. Now this is kind of a tight fit, and it's not going to work very good if you have tape stuck there. So let's get that off. So we don't want to make sure that your sides are fully stuck in there at the back, because if you don't, that's really going to give you a fit trying to get it in. It is a very tight closure. So take your time, slide that in there, and give it a press. Okay, now our box is done, and we're going to decorate. So we are going to take this piece that we stamped and take some Stampin' Seal, put it on this piece of Pool Party. Again, this was 3 3/8 by 3 3/8, and this one is 3.5 by 3.5. Because our box is 3 5/8 inch square and 1/2 inch deep, and it's made to perfectly fit our ornament. Okay, so we've got our box now. Now I'm going to set this aside until we get our ornament inside. Okay, but before I do that, I'm going to take a little hole punch, and I'm just going to punch in the middle of this. You can use any little hole punch that you have on hand. Some of our die sets actually have the a die to do that, so I'm just going to try and put that in the center and give it a little punch. And now that will be ready for our box. Okay, so let's set that aside and let's do our ornament. Okay. Oh, Cynthia, hello. And thank you for sharing. I do appreciate that. Oh, have you seen the Northern Lights there in North Dakota tonight, Cynthia? I saw some things on Facebook right before I went live where they were seeing them in Wyoming, I think. Okay, so let's grab the pieces for our um, uh, ornament. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're using the Lights of Aurora 6x6 Designer Series paper for this. And like I said, Spotlight on Nature, and we are using this, the largest of the slotted die for our ornament. Okay, and we don't really need a ton of supplies here. So I have pre-cut from the Lights of Aurora paper that Spotlight on Nature die, and this is the piece we'll be using. I've also cut a second white one of these, and this is going to be to back this to give it a little bit of extra sturdiness, because Designer Series paper is not as thick as cardstock. So we're just going to marry these two pieces together like so, and then this we'll be using for the back. Okay, this needs to do some stamping on it, so those before we get too far. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pick any of these little holes, the tiny little holes, and I'm going to put it on one of the lines on my grid here. Okay, because I'm going to use that for my center point. Okay. Now I'm going to take the Triple Tree stamp, And I'm going to stamp that down. Okay. Again, I'm going to line that back up. And then I'm going to take the single tree and I'm going to add this in here like so. Okay. Now, we're going to take the sentiment, warmest winter wishes, and where did I put that? Oh, that's a good question. Oh, right here. It's right here. Okay, and I've already got this on a stamp positioning tool, and I'm just going to lay this in here and put just a little bit of adhesive on the back again, and then I'm going to lay this. I'm going to line that up on a grid there, and then this should work out perfectly. Okay, make sure you keep that hole at the top and put it on one of those grid lines. It just makes things easier if you use the grid for that, to keep everything all nice and straight. Okay, and hopefully that does that. Okay, that actually looks quite good. So I'm going to leave that just like that. And now the back of our ornament piece is done. All right, so I'm going to put that away. I'm going to glue these two together. I'm going to do that with some liquid glue. Okay, and I found that if I glue the bottom piece first, and I'm just going to go and put some, actually, let me do this. This one works better for me for this. I'm just going to put some little dots of glue randomly around the outside. Just to make sure that the edges adhere. And then we're going to put some more glue here to get that to glue together. Okay? Then I'm going to pick any one of those little dots at the top. Doesn't really matter. And I'm going to line this up. This is the way I found to do it the easiest. Line up your top. Make sure all of those pieces at the top line up. And if you can get those to line up, then you can kind of lightly drop it and it should be really good. Okay? All right. Now, this is how I want this to be, and this is going to be my top. So what I'm going to do for this now, this is the easiest way I found to do it. I'm going to take that dot that I want to be my center point, and I'm going to put that on my scoring tool. Okay? I'm going to take that little dot, I'm going to keep my finger on it, and I'm going to put that right up at the top of my scoring tool. Okay? Now if I keep that flat up there, everything should be good. And then I'm going to take my ruler and place it at the top of my tool so that I can draw a line on the back of that piece. Whoa. It's a good thing I didn't let that move. Okay, so now I've got that. Are you with me so far? Hello, Lynette. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. So this is where I want my top to be, that top hole. So I'm going to keep my finger on that and I'm going to flip this over I'm going to put this on the 6-inch mark of my scoring tool. And then I'm going to line that up along. I have a Sharpie marker here. And then I'm just going to draw a line down here on the back. Okay. So now I've got those two pieces and I've got the lines on the back. All right. Okay. And this is my top. Okay. So I'm going to lay this down here like so on a grid line so that my lines match up. Then I'm going to take one of these gold hoops. Oh, wait a minute before I get too excited here. I'm going to take and run a piece of, you can use tear and tape or what did I do with my little mat? There it is. Got to get this started. Okay. And then I'm just going to run some adhesive straight down that line. Okay. I'll line this back up on my line here. I'll try and get that to stay. And then I'm going to take my gold hoop and what did I do with the, oh my goodness, where did I put it? Oh no. Okay, I had everything right here. That is not it. Where is my twine? Where's my twine? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, then I'm going to take the black and white and gold baker's twine. And I'm using the white and gold. And you're going to need about 15 inches. Don't short yourself. Trust me. Don't short yourself. Okay? 14 to 15 inches. They're on the 15-inch side. Okay? All right. Then we're going to take this. And I'm going to want some of the kinks out. So I'm just going to take my fingernail and run that down there like so. Then we'll fold this in half. And then I'm going to put this through the hoop and twist all these things so that it's smooth. And then I'm just going to put this on my hoop. Now, if you notice that there's a spot where you can see where it comes together, put your thing on there, okay? And then this is the part we want to be out. So I'm going to take and flip this like so. And then I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to line this up on that line again. I'm going to line my thread up on that line. Remember, I've got sticky on here. I'm going to make sure these are all straight. And then I'm going to take my twine and press that right into the adhesive, right up that straight line. Okay? All right. Then I'm going to very carefully pull my fingers off that adhesive. And then we're going to take this. Before I do that, because it's easier to do now, I'm going to take the thread on the right and I'm going to thread that between my cardstock and the loop and pull it, okay? And at this point, to ensure that nothing moves, I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to roll that up into a small log. So I just put my take your pick tool tip on it, put it into a log, and then I'm going to very carefully stick that underneath that twine and keep that like that, okay? And now when I turn this over, everything should be lined up the way I want it. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to add Stampin' Dimensionals. I thought I opened a new pack. Okay, I'm going to use some of these other bonesy pieces. And I'm going to lay this across the center, like so. And I'm going to do that 3 times to totally secure that twine. Okay, so I've got that. And then I'm going to add extra dimensionals. Like this to fully secure everything. Now I feel like I need another little piece right here. Maybe overkill, but I don't want my ornament coming apart. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right there. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to put this right back on that line again. And then I'm going to take my Warmest Winter Wishes, line it up, and sandwich these pieces together. Okay, so we've got those. I think I've got them all off now. Lining that back up on the grid line. And again, I'm going to start at the top. Try to line that dot up. Now I don't have liquid glue this time, so I need to really be careful before I press, right? But once I get those top pieces lined up, everything else should drop right into place. Okay? So I've got that. Now I've got these 2 pieces hanging out. So I'm just going to take and tie a knot here. And remember, I've still got that glue dot on the back. So I'm going to tie a double knot. All right. And I'm going to make sure that I press that right into that glue dot. Okay. Then I'm going to bring these 2 ends up and tie a little knot here. All right. And then I can trim that frayed edge right there. All right, so there is the basics of our ornament. Everything's lined up how I want it, front and back. Now all I have to do is decorate. So let's bring back in that circle that we stamped earlier. Okay. And let's put our, well, before we do this, you don't have to do this. You could just put this on here like this if you wanted to and call it good. I didn't want to do that because I want my aurora to show. So I'm going to be crazy. And I am going to cut, and I'm sorry, I should have done this ahead of time, and I didn't. So I've got that cut just like that. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to put my thumbnail right there, and I'm going to tear that toward me. And that's going to give me a little snowbank. Okay. And then I'm going to fussy cut this. And you guys, I really am sorry. I should have partially fussy cut this already so you didn't have to watch this. And you do not have to be this precise if you don't want to. But anybody who knows me knows I don't know how to do it any other different. I don't know how to do it differently. So this is what we're doing. Okay, and then you'll get to see how I make this all work. So we're just going to cut that out. Notice how I'm turning the paper and not my scissors. We are going to get a little bit of resistance from this paper simply because you need to cut so far down. Okay, so now to make my life easier, I'm just going to cut over here, cut around my chimney. And go this way. Okay, let's see. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're seeing those northern lights, Cynthia. That is so cool. I have not been out to see if we are seeing them. And from what I heard with our forecast, it's supposed to be stinking cloudy tonight. But I will be out after the live looking to see if they can be seen. Well, they're saying it could happen both tonight and tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, there's also supposed to be a meteor shower, which would be super cool, unless that's supposed to happen after midnight tonight, because it says November 12th, but you know, anytime after midnight is November 12th, so maybe we'll see meteors too. Hopefully it won't be too cloudy for us here in Oregon. Okay, now you could leave this. I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out because I like the way it looks better. I've done it both ways. I prefer cutting this, and it's easier if you cut this before you adhere it to your ornament. Trust me, because I've done that too. Because I went, oh, I should have cut those, and I didn't. So then I was backtracking and cutting. Okay, almost done. Almost done. Okay. So again, now I cut to there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to take this and I'm going to tear it toward me. Okay, so that I get that white edge. Now, let's go ahead and finish this off. Down here, I need to finish this up. This is the paper kind of fights me here because I need to get down below there. So now I'm going to cut in here at my tree. I'm going to cut down just to the ground level, okay? And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to trim next to the cabin, just down to the ground level. I'm going to push that tree back. I'm going to put my thumbnail in there and I'm going to tear that toward me. And because I've already cut at the tree, I don't have to worry about tearing the tree off, okay? All right, now you could quit here, but I could not. Let me find my piercing mat, which I just rearranged some things, so I'm having a little bit of hard time finding some things. I do not want to really pierce into this. I don't know what I did with my other little piece. Okay, hang on for 1 second. See if I can find it here very quickly. Where did I stick that today? Don't you hate that when you rearrange and then you can't find things? I had to rearrange for the new stamp storage system. Okay, well, we're going to go for it because I can't find any of my other little mats because they don't seem to be where I thought they should be. Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors here and I'm going to poke right along here. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me a way to get my scissors in here so that I can trim these trees and take out all that white space. Okay. And you could tear here too. I did on mine before, but today I'm not going to. I'm just going to cut just so I don't have that unsightly white piece where I don't want it. Okay, let's get that extra white out of there. Excuse me. Hello, Christopher. Oh my goodness. I don't know where I put those mats. I have like 4 mats besides this one because they came out of my stamping tools, stamp positioner tools. And do you think I can find a single one on where I put it today? I know I stuck them in a drawer, but I'm not seeing them. So again, I'm going to take my scissors and just cut a little hole in there. Just to get my scissors in there and snip this. And then that will take out all that extra white I don't want in there. Okay, now this one, I'm going to cut down that tree, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that down there so I can get my scissors up in there. And then I am going to take this, put my fingernail in there, and tear it. Okay, woohoo! We are almost done. Last thing, well, not last thing. Here we go. I need to color these because I didn't do that. So let's go ahead and put our cloud cover around our door and across our window. And now I remember what I forgot to do, you guys. What did I do with lemon lily? Oh, it's right there. Okay, right where it's supposed to be. Okay, so we've got to do that. All right. And we will do this. This is my little details. Okay, then we're going to take that pool party brush again. I'm going to put my mask back on here like so. Grab that pool party ink. And then I'm going to take just a little piece of scrap paper. It can be the same one I used before. And I don't want my tree to be pool party. So I'm just going to put that across there, like so. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of pool party there. Okay. And again, up here on these trees, I'm going to cover that. Put some pool party here. And just a little bit down here. Okay. So now we've got our snow. And we're going to take off our mask. I'm going to put that on here for just a minute. And then we're going to take our wink of Stella. And we're going to go along here and here. I'm going to put just a little bit there and there. Okay? So that will, and then a little bit in the windows. Okay? All right. Now, ahead of time, I took some vellum paper and I stamped the smoke coming from the chimney onto vellum. I used pool party ink because you don't have to worry about it drying so quickly on vellum. And then I put some Wow Silver embossing and fussy cut that. So we're going to go ahead and add this with a glue dot to our chimney. And here's our glue dots. And again, I'm just going to roll this down with my take your pick tool into a log. Stick that at the base of my chimney smoke. And then I'm going to add this to my chimney. Okay, so that I have smoke in my chimney. Now, I'm going to take this, some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to use mini and the regular. Let's grab some minis. I don't have much of the minis left. I should have, no. Yep, I did grab another mini. That's the one I grabbed. So I want to put some up here in these trees to give that some support. And on this tree for support. Okay. And then we can go along here like so. And then I'll put another piece here in the middle. And I'm going to put a little one right over here in the corner. And also in that corner there. Okay? And then I think we should be pretty good. Okay, might be overkill, but like I said, if this ornament's going to last for several years, then I want it to stay together. So I'm not going to skimp on dimensionals. Okay. My problem today is that I did a nice tidy up and I rearranged a little bit to make room for the new stamp packaging. And now I can't remember where I put things. Oh, wait a minute, before I put that on, I had this one little fine detail I wanted to do. So I'm going to take on these and I'm just going to go on some of these streaks down and just put a little bit of Wink of Stella. Okay, and then line this up on that line again. Did that move on me? Yep, seems to have. The bottom part seems to have moved a bit. Okay, but we've got this lined up again now. There we go. And then I'm just going to place this down where it would go. Right there, like that. Okay. And there is our ornament. Okay. Now I've held you a little bit late, but we're going to finish up this box. What did I do with the, there the box is. We're going to put this inside the box. Okay. Give that a press down. Okay, got that. And then I'm actually using some retired ribbon. Use whatever you have on hand. I could use the one that's on back order till February, but I'm just going to use this. And I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm going to tie a nice bow. In case you have this on hand, this is the silver and white sheer ribbon. Like I say, it's retired, but you could have it in your stash already. And I'm going to tie this up like this. Put a nice bow in there. Pull this down like so. Give this a trim. Okay, and then to finish this off, we're going to take the real red and white peppermint baker's twine. I'm going to thread that through the hole on my sentiment. And then I'm going to put this underneath that bow. And then I'm going to tie myself another little bow to tie on our little greeting. Okay. And I know I've kept you past an hour, but I hope this was worth it. Okay, we'll fix that so that they're about the same. Okay. Give that a little trim. And there you have it. The ornament and the box. And if you don't tie this ribbon super tight on the box, you can slide it right back off. I did not tie mine super tight. I tied it enough so it won't fall off, but so I can still get it to slide on and off the box. Okay? So there you have it. Ornament and gift box. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial tonight and that you will give these a try so that you can spread some Christmas cheer to your family and friends. Thank you guys. I'm so glad that you like that. I will be back on Thursday with another live. I've already got my card planned for Thursday night. It's already designed. I just need to put it together and show you how it's done. And it's actually, the card is quite a bit like our ornament. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel so that you'll know every time I post a new video or go live. And thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.